The marriage-ending PowerPoint presentation. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a PowerPoint slide? That ended my marriage in less than 10 minutes. My name is Daniel. I'm 34, and for the longest time, I thought I was living the kind of life people envied. Good job, comfortable house, a wife who everyone thought was the perfect partner. Emily and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. On the outside, everything seemed solid. We were the couple who hosted barbecues, planned holidays with friends, and posted smiling photos on social media that made people comment relationship goals. But what no one saw was how fragile it all was beneath the glossy exterior, and how quickly betrayal can make the foundation of a marriage crack. I work in corporate consulting, which means I'm no stranger to endless presentations, performance reviews, and clients who only pretend to listen. Emily, on the other hand, was a project manager at a tech company. Smart, confident, ambitious. Honestly, that was one of the things I admired most about her. She always seemed in control, always had her life mapped out like one of those carefully crafted spreadsheets she loved, but somewhere along the line, her ambition blurred into something else. Something dangerous. It started small late nights at work, weekend team-building events that didn't include partners, a phone that she suddenly guarded like a state secret. I wanted to believe it was just the pressure of her job. Everyone gets busy. Everyone needs space. And maybe I was too trusting. Or maybe I didn't want to admit that the woman I built my life around could be lying to me. The first crack appeared at a dinner party with friends. We were sitting around, wine glasses clinking, stories flowing, when Emily's phone buzzed. She reached for it so fast it was almost unnatural, then turned the screen away from me. I caught a glimpse of the notification before she locked it. A heart emoji from someone named Mark. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. It could have been harmless, maybe just a colleague being playful. But the look on her face, that flash of panic before she masked it with a laugh, burned into my memory. Over the next few weeks, the signs multiplied. She'd come home late, claiming she was stuck at the office, but her clothes carried a faint smell of cologne I didn't own. Her smiles became shorter, her patience thinner. Whenever I tried to bring it up, she flipped it back on me. "You're being paranoid, Daniel. You've been so insecure lately. Do you not trust me?" Gaslighting, that's what it was. I knew it, even then. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday night. I'd stayed late at my own office, buried in spreadsheets and numbers that refused to add up. When I realized I left my laptop charger. At home, I drove back, expecting to find Emily maybe curled up on the couch or already asleep. Instead, I walked into silence until I heard laughter coming from upstairs. I froze at the bottom of the stairs. My heart hammered in my chest. Every instinct told me to run, to storm up there and confront whatever truth was waiting for me. But instead, I stood there, gripping the banister so hard my knuckles turned white. After a long minute, I climbed, each step as quietly as I could. When I pushed open the bedroom door, Emily was sitting cross-legged on the bed, laptop in front of her, and marquise. The same Mark from the text messages was lying back against the pillows, shirt half unbuttoned. They didn't even notice me at first. Were too busy laughing at something on the screen. When they finally did look up, Emily's smile dropped. "Daniel, it's not what it looks like." The most cliché line in the book, and Mark. He had the nerve to smirk at me, like I was the intruder in my own house. I left without a word. The drive that night is still a blur. I don't remember the traffic lights, or the rain hitting the windshield, or how I didn't crash the car when my hands were shaking so badly. All I remember is the hollow ache in my chest. The betrayal, the humiliation, the realization that the woman I trusted most had built a double life right under my nose. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. I replayed every moment in my head, every late-night excuse. Every guarded glance at her phone, every time she accused me of being paranoid. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was making me feel crazy for suspecting it. And that's when something inside me shifted. See, in my line of work, I deal with presentations daily. I've seen people win million-dollar contracts with a few well-placed slides. I've also seen careers end in a boardroom because of one poorly chosen graph. Presentations have power. They tell stories. They control narratives. And if Emily wanted to control her narrative, to paint herself as the perfect wife while sneaking around with Mark behind my back, well, I could do better. That's when I decided I was going to build the most important PowerPoint presentation of my life. One that would expose every lie, every betrayal, every hidden message. I wasn't just going to show it to Emily. No, I wanted an audience. Because if she thought she could humiliate me in private, I would. Make sure her mask shattered in public. If there's one thing betrayal teaches you, it's patience. After the night I found Emily with Mark, I didn't explode. I didn't scream, throw things, or kick him out of my house. I walked away silently, which probably scared them more than if I had lost my temper. Because silence means calculation. Silence means planning. The next morning, Emily acted like nothing had happened. She came downstairs in her work clothes, hair perfectly done, coffee mug in hand, and offered me a weak smile. About last night, she started, you have to understand. Things have been complicated. I didn't mean for you to see that. It's complicated. That was her excuse. I just stared at her. She wanted me to argue, to fight, to show my hand. Instead, I simply said, we'll talk later, and walked out. She didn't know it yet. But the countdown had already started. At work, I opened a blank PowerPoint slide. The title box sat there, waiting. My fingers hovered over the keyboard before typing, "The truth about Emily." That was the beginning. I treated it like any corporate project collecting data, analyzing evidence, and preparing the story arc. Except this wasn't about numbers or clients. This was about betrayal, deceit, and exposing the double life my wife had been living. First step, evidence. Emily had gotten sloppy. She thought deleting messages was enough, but she forgot about cloud backups. With a bit of digging, I recovered weeks' worth of texts between her and Mark, late-night flirting, lunch-hour rendezvous, inside jokes about me. My stomach churned as I read her words, intimate, playful, cruel. She called me boring in one message, said she only stayed married to me because of stability. Stability, as if I was just some safety net while she chased. Excitement elsewhere. Screenshots went straight into the presentation. Slide 1. The messages. Each screenshot carefully arranged with timestamps. I didn't even need to add commentary. Her words betrayed her better than I ever could. Next, photos. Mark wasn't cautious either. On his public Instagram, he'd posted vague snaps of nights out that lined up suspiciously with Emily's late work evenings. Same wine glasses, same restaurants, even a blurry reflection of her in one photo if you zoomed in. Evidence disguised as coincidence, till you laid it side by side, so I did. Slide 2. The photos. Mark's posts on one side, Emily's work excuses on the other. The timeline spoke for itself, but I didn't stop there. I tracked their locations through the Find My feature she had forgotten to disable on. Her iPad, dozens of pings at hotels she never told me about, each one tagged, dated, mapped. Slide 3. The locations. A digital breadcrumb trail of betrayal. The more I uncovered, the more I realized this wasn't just about cheating. It was about manipulation. She had twisted my trust, my loyalty, and my sanity. Every time she called me paranoid. Every time. She acted offended at my suspicions. She was covering her tracks. Gaslighting wasn't just an occasional defense, it was her entire strategy. And if she wanted to control the narrative, then I would take control back in the most devastating way. By the time I was done collecting, my presentation had over 20. Slides, messages, photos, maps, even her credit card statements showing dinners for 2. Each piece was damning. Each piece painted a picture of a woman living 2 lives, one as the devoted wife, the other as the thrill-seeking cheater. Now came the question, who was going to see it? At first, I thought about confronting her alone, maybe at home. Wasn't enough. Emily thrived on appearances. She loved the admiration of our friends, the respect of her colleagues, the image of being the perfect couple. To truly shatter her mask, The truth had to come out in front of an audience she couldn't control. And that's when fate handed me the perfect opportunity. Emily's birthday was 3 weeks away. She had planned a big dinner with friends, family, and co-workers at a nice restaurant downtown. She loved being the center of attention, loved the spotlight on her. Everyone will be there, she had said proudly when she booked it months before. Everyone, indeed. So I started refining the presentation, polishing it like a masterpiece. Transitions smooth, fonts professional, slides clean and damning. I even added a cheerful cover slide with balloons and confetti that read, "Happy birthday, Emily." I could already picture it. The projector screen, the guests sipping wine, Emily basking in her moment until her own lies began flashing across the screen. But revenge isn't just about the execution. It's about control. It's about knowing your enemy so well that you anticipate every reaction. So in those 3 weeks, I played my role perfectly. I kissed her goodnight, I asked about her day, even pretended to believe her excuses when she slipped out for her late meetings. She thought she had gotten away with everything, that I was too blind or too weak to push back. And the more secure she felt, the more careless she became. Meanwhile, I rehearsed. Over and over, I practiced my delivery. I wasn't just going to dump evidence, I was going to tell a story. One where she was the star villain, exposed in front of the very people who admired her most, the night before her birthday dinner. I sat alone in my office, staring at the glowing slides. My heart pounded, not with fear, but with anticipation. This wasn't just about ending a marriage anymore. This was about reclaiming my dignity, my voice, my truth. Emily thought she could silence me with lies. But soon, every word she spoke, every excuse she gave, would crumble under the weight of undeniable proof. And the best part? I wouldn't need to raise my voice, throw accusations, or even argue. I just clicked to the next slide. The restaurant was buzzing that evening. Crystal glasses clinked, laughter echoed off the high ceilings, and waiters weaved between tables with trays of appetizers. It was exactly the kind of elegant chaos Emily loved. She sat at the center of the long table, radiant in a new dress, soaking up the attention as friends, family, colleagues gathered around her. "Happy birthday, Emily." People cheered as she raised her glass, grinning. For a moment, anyone watching would think she had it all: a doting husband, loyal friends, a successful career. The perfect picture. But I knew better. And in a few minutes, everyone else would too. I had arrived earlier, discreetly slipping the manager a flash drive with my presentation. I told him I had a surprise birthday slideshow prepared. He didn't ask questions. Why would he? Couples often put together cheesy photo montages for these kinds of events. He happily set it up on the projector in the private dining room. As the dinner rolled on, people began looking around for the birthday surprise. Molly leaned closer to me, her perfume sharp and suffocating. "You didn't forget to prepare something, did you?" she teased. I smiled. "Don't worry, I've got it covered." When the cake was brought out, candles glowing, and the singing began, I stood up. My hands were steady. My voice was calm. "Before Emily makes her wish," I said, "I put together something special for her. A little presentation to celebrate everything she means to us." Applause rippled across the table. Emily's eyes lit up. She loved the idea of being celebrated publicly. She reached for my arm, squeezing it, whispering, "This is so sweet, Daniel. Sweet. If only she knew." The lights dimmed. The projector hummed to life. The first slide appeared. Balloons, confetti, cheerful colors. "Happy birthday, Emily," the room cooed. Phones came out, ready to record. Emily beamed. Then I clicked to the next slide. The truth about Emily. At first, there was a murmur of confusion, a few chuckles, like people thought it was a joke. Emily's smile froze. I advanced again. Slide 3. A screenshot of her messages with Mark. Clear as day, her words glowed on the screen. "Daniel will never know. He's too boring to notice." A heart emoji followed. The room went silent. Emily's face drained of color. "Daniel," she hissed, her voice low. "What are you doing?" But I kept going, slide after slide, more messages, flirty exchanges. plans to meet at hotels. Photos of wine glasses in restaurants, side by side with her excuses of late meetings. Credit. Card receipts for two. The damning GPS map of hotel visits, red pins scattered across the city. The silence in the room grew heavier with each slide. Friends shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Colleagues whispered in shock. My parents sat stiff, expressions unreadable. While Emily's family stared at her like they didn't recognize her anymore, Mark wasn't there that night. Thankfully for him, but his name was on almost every slide. And with every click, Emily's reputation shattered further. Finally, I reached the slide titled, The Gaslighting. A collage of texts where she accused me of being paranoid, insecure, untrusting. Right next to evidence that she was, in fact, lying the entire time, that one drew audible gasps. Because it wasn't just infidelity anymore, it was cruelty. Manipulation. Emily stood up suddenly, knocking her chair back. Enough. This is disgusting. Daniel, you're humiliating me in front of everyone. I turned to face her, finally speaking directly. No, Emily, you humiliated yourself. I'm just showing the truth. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for sympathy, but all she found were stares of pity, judgment, and betrayal. Even her closest friends avoided her gaze. She lunged for the projector, fumbling to turn it off, but the manager intervened, confused but obedient to me, since I was the one who organized it. The presentation rolled on until the final slide appeared. Happy birthday, Emily. Here's to honesty. The lights flickered back on. The room was dead silent. For a moment, Emily just stood there, shaking, lips parted like she wanted to scream, but no words came. Then she grabbed her purse, eyes glassy with tears, and stormed out of the restaurant. The door slammed behind her. Nobody followed. The tension hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Finally, one of her co-workers muttered, "Jesus Christ." Another whispered, "I can't believe it." I sat back down slowly, my hands resting on the table. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm, like I had finally exhaled after holding my breath for too long. Someone raised their glass awkwardly. To Daniel, they said, voice low. Others followed, unsure, but compelled to mark the moment somehow. I didn't need their sympathy. I didn't need applause. The only thing I needed was done. Emily's perfect facade was gone, ripped apart in the place she valued most, the public eye. She could deny, argue, or spin stories all she wanted, but the proof had been seen by everyone who mattered, and that, to me, was the sweetest justice. But I didn't know then that the fallout was only beginning. Because when you destroy someone's mask, you also force them to show their true face. And Emily wasn't going to go quietly. The night of the presentation ended in stunned silence. But the real aftermath came in the days that followed. Emily didn't come home that night. I wasn't surprised. By morning, I had already packed her belongings into boxes and stacked them neatly in the garage. I left her a short note on the kitchen counter. Your things are outside. Do not come in. She showed up that afternoon, sunglasses covering her red, swollen eyes. For a moment, she lingered at the doorway, as if hoping I'd let her inside. But I stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, watching her through the glass. She gave me a pleading look, one I had never seen from her before, desperate, almost panicked. Then she turned away, loaded the boxes into her car, and drove off without a word. That should have been the end of it. But people like Emily don't let go easily. Over the next week, my phone buzzed with message after message, long paragraphs, half apologies and half accusation. Daniel, you blindsided me. How could you humiliate me like that? Yes, I made a mistake, but you didn't have to ruin my reputation. If you just talked to me privately, maybe we could have worked it out. Worked it out, after months of lies and manipulation. She still thought she could spin the story, turn herself into the victim. I didn't reply, not once. Silence was more powerful than any response. Her family reached out to. Her sister called me, voice hushed and sympathetic. Daniel, I can't believe what she did. We had no idea. She's been lying to all of us. Even her own parents admitted they were ashamed of her behavior. At work, word spread fast. Colleagues who had been at the dinner told others. And soon, Emily's carefully crafted image as a respectable, ambitious professional crumbled. She requested time off, but rumors filled the gap. By the time she returned, whispers followed her everywhere. Promotions she had been chasing vanished. Mark, the man she risked it all for, ghosted her within weeks. That part, I'll admit, made me laugh. Meanwhile, my own life shifted. Friends who had once looked at Emily and me as a model couple now reached out privately, offering support, respect, even admiration. "I don't know how you pulled that off, man," one said. "That was brutal but brilliant." Isn't about admiration. It isn't even about the audience. It's about balance. It's about making the scales even again when someone tips them unfairly. For me, its balance was finally restored. Emily tried one last time a month later. She showed up at my office lobby, unannounced, looking worn and fragile. She begged the receptionist to let her see me, said she just wanted to explain. I walked down, looked her in the eyes, and simply said, "There's nothing left to it. Explain." Then I turned and walked away. That was the last time I saw her. Divorce proceedings moved quickly after that. With all the evidence I had collected, there was no fight to be had. She couldn't deny anything. She signed the papers quietly, probably realizing she had already lost everything that mattered. It's funny, people often think revenge is about rage, about screaming and breaking things, about explosions of emotion. But the truth is, real revenge is cold. It's calculated. It doesn't need to raise its voice. A click of a slide was enough. Months have passed now, and my life feels lighter. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. If anything, I feel free. Sometimes I even catch myself smiling, remembering the stunned faces at that dinner, the way Emily's mask shattered piece by piece. Was it harsh? Absolutely. But betrayal demands consequence. She didn't just cheat on me. She mocked me, gaslit me, made me question my own sanity while she lived a double life. That kind of cruelty deserves a stage, and I gave her one. In the end, karma did the rest. Her career stalled. Her social circles shrank. The man she thought was her escape disappeared, and all she was left with was the reflection in the mirror, stripped of the lies she once used to hide behind. As for me, I've moved forward. I focus on work, on friendships, on rebuilding a life that no longer has shadows in it. And when people ask me about the marriage, I just smile and say sometimes the truth doesn't need to be shouted. Sometimes it just needs a projector and a little PowerPoint magic. Because when betrayal tries to silence you, the loudest, revenge is letting the truth speak for itself. And trust me, it spoke louder than she ever imagined.